Yo, 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 yo. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but this Sunday, the REA auction is closing. Yes, the auction at collectrea.com will be closing. And for those of you who don't know, it's one of the biggest auctions of the year. If you're somebody who's more into modern stuff, they certainly have that. But the great thing about REA is, and you're going to notice this as we look at the top of the auction here in a moment, some of the best vintage items of the year will be selling this Sunday. So what our mission today is over the course of the next hour and a half, we're going to look at 100 items as part of this auction. So 100 items in about the next 90 minutes. That gives us a little less than a minute per item. So we're going to jump right in. If you haven't gotten their catalog, the REA catalog is fantastic. It's giant. It gives you everything that you could ever want to know about all the items in the catalog or about all the items that are in the auction. The only problem is it's so much information. I'm going to give you 100 items that I think are the most interesting. So without further ado, let us jump right in and let us start out with the items that are right at the very top of the auction. And guys, you're not going to believe some of the stuff that we have at the very top. First, though, let me show you this. So if you go to REA or collectrea.com, and remember, these guys used to be known as Robert Edward Auctions. That's where the REA that's what it stands for. But now you have to go to collectrea.com. And when you come here and you come in, you can see bid now, you can see view catalog. Usually if this banner isn't here, I just come in here and I click bid now. I've bid on REA stuff before. I've won lots of stuff from REA in the past. I think I've told the story that my 97 Essential Credentials uncut sheet that I bought a few years ago, I won from REA. And I was really nervous how they would deliver it. And it was perfect. They handled it perfectly. Just did such a great job. And everything that I've ever had with REA has gone really, really well. So I'm glad that I'm able to take, an hour and a half today and go through and show you guys some of the biggest items in the auction. So when you click on bid now, you're going to see fall 2025 auction. You can see it ends as of this time in 5 days and 5 hours from now, which is Sunday. And it is ordered, as you would expect, by lot number. But rather than continuing to view it by lot number, I'm going to take this and we're going to start out and we're going to go through the first couple pages like this. We're going to go through on highest bid. And right at the top, you're going to see a couple of things that are obviously going to grab your attention, maybe one or two in particular. Sorry about my big head in the way there. We're going to take our time with these. Like I said, we've got a minute each. I say take our time. This is still going to be super fast. So like I said, without further ado, let's jump in. The highest card in the auction right now is this one, the Mickey Mantle in an SGC 84, which is the equivalent of a 7. This is after SGC began, after they changed from just the 100-point scale. So I think some people look at this and they think that this is like the oldest holder. This is definitely not the oldest holder for SGC. SGC used to have a version that had a hologram on the back. This is secondary to that. I don't believe that you're able to look this cert number up and find out exactly when it was graded, but this isn't like from the late 90s or anything like that. This was like a next generation holder. This card obviously stands out for its incredible edges and corners. It has fantastic registration. Really, the story here of why it's not even higher is obviously that centering, and you can obviously see that just by looking at the card right off. I'm not going to belabor that, but it's never a shock when a card that's graded this high, when a Mantle 52 that's graded this high is at the top of the auction. This is always going to be a headliner, and it is in this auction too. A card that's significantly more interesting to me is this card. This is the 1914 Christy Mathewson, the Christy Mathewson Crackerjack. This card is a 2.5. And as we look closer, we can see this is just a fantastic example. Obviously, the corners are not super sharp. Remember that 1914's issue were all issued in the packs. I don't see a whole lot of discoloration, maybe a little bit up here, but generally the caramel is going to leave some more discoloration, maybe a little bit on the corner over here, left corner, maybe a little bit down here. My mouse is giving me a little bit of a hard time. Sorry about that, guys. But the back looks super clean, doesn't it? There's far less discoloration on this copy than I'm used to seeing. There's a little bit right here, maybe a little bit down in here, but for the most part, this card looks super consistent. Let's see what they say down below here. The other thing that obviously stands out for this one is that this one is horizontal pitching pose. And I would obviously recommend looking at the population report on this one. In fact, let's just do that real quick, because for the 1914 set, I always think that's really interesting. So I'm going to open this up on another screen and type in the number. Bear with me for just a second. And as I enter this number in, I wonder how many total we're going to have in the pop. 2635 1353. And you can see now this is a pop 2 with 10 higher. That is low. That is a significantly lower number than I thought it was going to be. If we drill in even more, though, what we're going to find is, let's see, how many are lower than that? My guess is there's quite a few that are lower than that. Matthew. Oh, apparently I can't spell Matthewson. There we go. Yes, there's 36 total. And that the reason is you've got 9 nines, 9 authentics, a qualified 9, and a 1.5, and 4 twos. So believe it or not, this is one of those instances where a 2.5 is a significantly above average copy. So we're talking about one of the rarest issues from one of the most iconic releases of one of the very best players and one of the most recognizable poses in an above average grade. And that's why it's sitting at $130,000. My good friend Jeremy Lee, who I'm sure most of you know, one of his biggest card that he's ever purchased is from this same set, right? And his card, I believe, is graded a 1.5. So 2.5 on this is a fantastic grade, and it's not shocking in the slightest to see it currently sitting at the number 2 spot. But by far and away, out of all the cards in this auction, the one that grabs me the most as I look at it is this one right here. We talked about it a little bit on Across the Hobby yesterday, but if you didn't catch that, we have to spend a little bit of time looking at it and talking about its significance. There was recently another Ruth autograph that sold. Another Ruth autograph, this exact same card, this same card number 144 from 1933 Gaudy. That one, though, did not have the inscription "Sincerely." And what I want to do today as we look at this Ruth is ask the question, how big of a deal is that inscription? Because to me, that's really the story here. A Babe Ruth autograph doesn't pop up very often on one of the 33 Gaudis. It is obviously the set that people like to see his autograph on the most, both because it's got all that color and because although it's toward the end of his career, it is sort of thought of as the most iconic Babe Ruth card. When we did the Iconic 100 a few years ago, one of the things that we found that was really surprising to me was that the 33 Gaudis was they were viewed as a whole. We put them as one card for purposes of the survey, but they were ranked number 4 on the all-time list of most iconic cards by the hobby. And part of that is that for Ruth, it was one of only 2 Ruth cards, by the way, that made the whole list. 33 Gaudy was that in the 1914 Baltimore News. And this one was by far the most iconic. We only see the autograph come across very rarely. So seeing this one sitting here at $120,000, I don't believe at all that it's going to stay close to this number. I don't believe that because I've talked to other people who are interested in it, and I think it's going to sell for significantly more. I had a friend when I showed it to him, and he's a potential bidder. His immediate reaction was, "That's going to sell for $1 million." And then the other copy sold that doesn't have "Sincerely" on it, and I wonder if maybe, possibly, that will end up harming the total value on this one. If it'll end up decreasing it. The reason that I say that is that, you have people try to like think of like cards as comps, right? And so the other one that sold, let's dive into that. Let's dive into that while we're here. So we're gonna go to Card Ladder here for some help. And as we go to Card Ladder, for some reason everything's making me sign in right now. So sorry about that, guys. Verify that I am human, as I did at PSA just a minute ago. And then I'll log in. When I log in, what we're going to type in here on Card Ladder's history of all sales is we're going to type in Babe Ruth, 1933 Gowdy, and I'm going to type in auto. We could also try PSA DNA. Auto is going to bring up a bunch of fake things too, I guess. That's unfortunate. Let's try auto PSA. Let's see if that gets us closer. That's still going to give us some ones that don't help us really, but that one did us a lot better. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So compare this, make this big. Oh, that didn't work. Man, nothing's working for me right now. Compare this one with this one. Okay, sincerely Babe Ruth. Everything else about it's fairly similar. Same angle, same type signature. This one might be a little bit darker. Wish I could make it bigger to see. There we go. I don't know why that didn't work the first couple times. This one you can see sincerely Babe Ruth, a little bit lighter maybe. Autograph of a 7, whereas the autograph on here also a 7. So very similar. Similar type of autographs, but that sincerely is a different sort of thing. So let's do this. If we go into Card Ladder, and we look at all of the different Gowdy Ruth autographs, can we find another with an inscription? To this point, nothing. I mean, look at this. Now, having said this, look at this. Some of these cards are obviously not Ruth. You got somebody selling their Heritage promo, somebody selling another card that was the same year as Babe Ruth. Let's try this. Let's try to narrow this down a little bit. Let's look at just cards that have sold for over $10,000. I think that's going to knock out some of the stuff that we don't want in here. So that's good. Okay, so the first 8 are all cards that are graded by PSA. They're all cards that have autographs on them, and they give us something to look at. Now, the other thing that I want to do here, if we go to, let me go to the PSA pop report real quick because I want to show you guys something else. So 1933 Gowdy pop report. When we do this, we search Babe Ruth under the autograph section. We can find how many total Babe Ruth autographs have been graded by PSA. So click here. Sometimes this takes a second. I don't know why exactly, but come here and we type in Babe Ruth. Now we're on the PSA DNA side here. When we come to the PSA DNA tab, we can see the card number 53 has 6 signed copies in the pop report. 4 + 1 + 1. Under 144, which is what this card is. See, this is card number 144. This one's been graded 9 times, right? One of them is a 1, one's authentic, one's a 1.5. And if you look up here, you're going to see this is a 1.5. It's actually a 1.5 mark. It's a 1.5 with a qualifier, which is kind of funny because it's not 1.5 with a qualifier is not on here. Actually, no, it is. That's right. They did add that. My bad. So that's this card right here. So this one, and then there's the 2 below it, and then there's the 2 2s. There's a 3. There's a 3 qualifier, 3 plus, which is a 3.5, and then there's the 2 4s, and that's it. So there's 9 copies of this card. There are 9 copies of this card that have ever been graded by PSA. 9 of them. And this is one of them. Okay, so we know there's 6 of the number 53. There's 9 of the 144. There's 6 of the 149. And there's 8 of the 181. Well, 8 + 6 is 14. And 14 + 9 is 23. And 23 + 6 is 29. There are less than 30. There are fewer than 30 PSA DNA Gowdy Ruth autographs in existence. Let me say that again. There are fewer than 30 PSA DNA Babe Ruth Gowdy autographs in existence. And when you start there and then you look at Card Ladder and you see all 4 of these just say Babe Ruth. 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 All of them that we can find down to 2020. Down to 2018, 2017. These are all of the sales historically that have been tracked by Card Ladder, guys. All of the cards back to 2013 just have Babe Ruth's signature. And when I say just, these are some of the best cards in the whole hobby, right? If we sort by highest, what we're going to get is this very famous card, the Uncle Jimmy red that graded a 4 with an 8 autograph, sold for $761,000. And then there's the one that just sold a couple months ago, a month and a half ago, for $585,000. And I think most people would argue this one's probably not as nice as this one is right here. That's a 4. That's a big time card. That's an Uncle Jimmy card. But there's 5 years difference here. So what we're seeing is Uncle Jimmy stuff at the top and then recent sales at the top. And now what we're going to see is the very first inscribed Babe Ruth Gowdy autograph. The very first one we've ever seen sell. And to me, that's a huge deal. The fact that it says sincerely here may be something that you sort of just scoff at and say, oh, that doesn't matter that much. This is a specifically individually identifiable card. And it's absolutely fantastic. I'll show you on the back too, something that's kind of fun. It's got a little star here on the back. Somebody just drew that little star on there. I think it looks like a star. And that is the reason that it has this MK qualifier. I'm going to tell you, as I look at the other big sales of this card, this is just my take, I would absolutely rather have either of the Uncle Jimmy cards than this, personally, because of that background, because of the story that's associated with it. Besides the Uncle Jimmy's, I don't think there's another one that I'd look at that I'd say, oh, yeah, I want that one more. This one that sold is so nice, and I like it a lot, and it is a higher grade. But like that sincerely, to me, that sincerely just makes this card specifically identifiable and really, really cool. And that's why, for me, this is the best card in this auction. And that's why I took like 10 minutes on it. Then we have a Mantle 5.5. It's centered better than this one over here. But I think if you look at the rest of the card, you're going to find out the rest of the card's probably not quite as nice. Take a closer look, see if you agree with that. Next row, 4 baseball cards. Now we move to the this is 1914. Excuse me. This is the Ty Cobb in a PSA 5. Wow. PSA 5 on the Ty Cobb from 1914. So if we come back to this Cracker Jack right here and we type in Cobb, we're going to find a lot more common card than the Christy Mathewson. There's 92 of them, but guys, a 5 on this card is really a big time grade. So this is the 5 column right here that we're in. And when you do that, you're going to see there's one 5.5, there's 3 6s, there's 1 7, 5 8s, and an 8.5. And that's it. How is there possibly an 8.5? That's nuts. An 8.5 out of a 1914? My goodness. How many cards are graded higher than 8.5? 2. And oh, look, I was spot on here. There is 1 8.5 ever that's been graded. And it was of the Ty Cobb. Wow. Anyway, you can see above a 5, very, very difficult on the Cobb. Very difficult. And 5, I mean, look, there's only 13 of these. Certainly a significantly above average card. With 4, 9, 10 copies higher out of the 90 something, and 12 that are the same level. This is a top quartile. This is a top quartile card. Where did I go? This is a top quartile Ty Cobb right here from 1914. The Cracker Jack Ty Cobb and a PSA 5. And we have an SGC 9 on the Aaron. The Lajoie. I told this story via my reels. If you haven't already seen it, definitely go check it out. This card is one of the most famous cards in all of the history of the hobby. You probably already know this card if you're watching this video. But if you don't, the very short version is that this was famous card number 106 that nobody could pull. And the reason that nobody could pull it is because it wasn't included in the packs. What Gowdy did is they made this giant 240 card set and they didn't include card number 106. Now, a year afterward, after they'd gotten a whole bunch of nasty letters from parents saying, hey, my kid's been trying to put together this set for a year and bought 1 million pieces of gum and they can't get card number 106. At that point, Gowdy sent the card out, but only to people who sent letters. So it's incredibly rare. It's the only way you can really complete the 1933 Gowdy card or Gowdy set. Some people think that it should be called a 1934 Gowdy card because it was released in 1934. But I like that it's a 1933. It was issued to effectively be a part of the set. And this high grade set that's being sold off one at a time is super interesting. Go check out my reel if you haven't already on that, but obviously an absolutely huge card. Okay, we got to move faster because we're only, how many cards are we in here? We're like 9 cards in or something like that. And I'm, 20 minutes in. So I got to speed it up a little bit. All right, we've got a PSA. Wow, a PSA 8 Cy Young. Wow. How often do you see a T206 Cy Young that is, or T206 of any card that's a PSA 8? When I think of PSA 8, T206s, you know what I think of. I think of card number 1 that was ever graded by PSA. Only 2 examples have been graded higher. Unbelievable. Great looking card as well. And a card that we will be going into more in detail here later today, actually. I'm making a reel about this one. What I point to here is a couple of things that are very obvious real quick. 1933 to 1936 puts this as a very early DiMaggio. The size of the card, and then when you look at the rarity, just read this right here. This is the only example graded at this level by SGC, because it's not just about the rarity, it's about the condition of the card as well. You can see it is a blank back card, one of the early DiMaggios, but again, tell you guys more about this one coming up later today. Currently at $57,500. Got to get out of both those tabs right there. And now we will move on to page number 2. So we've only gone through 12 items to date. We're going to go through a lot more real fast. Okay, so on this page, I always want to go through the Nagurskis. 1921, I don't know this. Coaster Bread complete set. Got to look at that one. Check this out. 1971 third series unopened box. A 9.5 on the Ryan rookie. A Garrigan a 7. Here's another DiMaggio. Interesting. 2 Z-Nut DiMaggios. That's right. I think I might be talking about both of those. And then another 1914. Boy, we're strong on the high level 1914 Cracker Jack cards. Somebody's got to be taking out a set. Has to be breaking up a set, I should say. And then look at this mantle right here, guys. Okay, so we've got three items from this page that I want to look at closely. The Nagurski, 5.5. It's really a strong copy. We see a lot of these sell in the very lower range. When I say a lot, one every month or two. Let's take a look at Card Ladder to see how often these actually sell, though. And the way that we do that, or we're going to do that, is we're going to type in Nagurski, Chicle, and then I'm going to, instead of do $10,000, I'm going to do just higher than 1,000. I'm going to tell you, no matter what condition it's in, if it's real, it's going to be over $1,000. So, and then I'm going to sort this by date sold. How many Nagurskis would you guess have sold across the whole hobby? It's one of the most iconic cards in all of football. I think a lot of people would make the case that before the Jim Brown rookie, this is the most iconic football card ever made. There's nothing more iconic until you get to the Jim Brown. I think a lot of people would argue that. Okay, so with that said, how many of them do you think have sold in the last year? Well, let's look. So 1 sold at Heritage in October, 1 sold in September, 2 sold in September. So let's see, 4, 8. We're talking 11. And 1 was as part of a near complete set. 11 copies have sold in this year. So you're talking about 1 a month sells. Now, these are both 2s, 1.5, 2, 3. Now, there's this 8 that sold at REA back in April. An SGC 8, obviously, that's a huge card. Then there's a PSA 5. So really what we have is an SGC 8. I think most people would say the 5 is a significantly better card. And then we have this card. If it's a 5.5, technically it's the second highest graded Nagurski to sell this year. The only Nagurskis to sell in this range over the course of the last 12 months, according to Card Ladder, are a PSA 5 that sold in August for $105,000 and an SGC 8 that sold back in April for $111,000. Boy, I'd love to see that SGC 8 sell again right now. Given how much the market has moved over the course of the last 7-8 months since that auction happened, I would really love to see that card sell again. Because here you have this 2, guys. This 2 just sold for $37,000. This authentic, this SGC evidence of trimming sold for $20,910. I don't think people understand how rare the card is. Okay, this is my last thing that I want to point out on the Nagurski. People always think about, I'm going to show you this on GemRate. It's super interesting. If you go to GemRate and you go to Universal Search and you think about like the most iconic, super old, like smaller type cards, right? For basketball, it's the Mikan, right? Mikan 1948 is the card. It's been graded 593 times according to GemRate. That's across all the major graders. 593. Okay, when we do the same thing, but we do it with Nagurski, we go from 953 to 250. There are fewer than half as many of the Nagurskis as there are the Mikan, and the Mikan's easily the rarest of all of the big-time vintage basketball cards. The Nagurski is legit rare, guys. That is why a PSA 2 is 37 grand. That is why an authentic evidence of trimming is $21,000 and a PSA 5 is $105,000. And that is why when you see an SGC 5.5, it's a huge story. Like this is absolutely one of the biggest stories from this auction. Okay, moving along. Oh, that's right. We looked at that. Now I wanted to look at this 1921 set. I do not know this, but I already see something that has me really interested. So 1921 Coaster Bread complete set. You're going to see a very recognizable image here real quick. Look how strong and sharp that card is. Holy smokes, that looks amazing. And that card looks virtually flawless. Why is this? Okay, we've got to look at we got to read the story here, guys. We got to read the story here. Every so often, the hobby reveals a remarkable relic not even thought to exist. Recently discovered in upstate New York, this 1921 album featuring a complete set of 52 cards, including Ruth, represents one of the most extraordinary pre-war finds in recent memory. This piece comes to us from a seasoned antiques picker who has spent nearly 4 decades traveling back roads and knocking on doors in search of forgotten treasures. His expertise lies in old toys, radios, and military items, not sports cards. A few months ago, during an afternoon drive, our consignor decided to stop in a small town not far from his home, following his lifelong instinct to introduce himself to locals to see what history might be hiding in their attics and basements. One chance visit led to a family whose grandparents had operated a general store dating back to the 1890s. Among the artifacts they showed him the store's past was a ledger containing old store notes and receipts. As he was paging through the ledger, he stumbled upon a century-old album that would change everything. The album instantly stood out. Its cover emblazoned stars of baseball pennant winners, 1921, blah, 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 blah. In gilt lettering struck him as a fascinating piece of history. As he leafed through the album, he noticed the cards and was drawn to how neatly they were mounted on the pages. Now, this is the part that I think we're going to find out that these are probably glued to the page, and that's why they haven't been graded. But we got to find this out. So let's see. As he leafed through, blah, 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 mounted on the pages, despite having limited sports card expertise and estimating the album's worth at just a few $100s at most, it was too interesting to leave behind. Once home, he began to look more closely at the cards, wondering if they might have been produced by American Caramel, one of the earliest card manufacturers he was familiar with. Hoping to confirm his suspicion, he gently lifted one of the cards, only to find the back completely blank, leaving him a bit disappointed, now figuring the cards weren't worth anything. As he continued flipping through the album, that sense of letdown quickly faded when he stumbled upon Babe Ruth, clad in Boston uniform. At this point, the consignor realized he had something very special. Excited by the prospects of what could be, our consignor quickly sent photos to a friend who urged him to reach out to auction houses for professional opinion. What followed was immediate validation. Our card experts immediately recognized the album's significance as a complete Coaster Bread set housed within its original album. So are these not glued? Sorry, there's so much. While the cards are undeniably impressive, it's the album that makes this discovery truly remarkable. So it says this is interesting, as is just the second of these albums known to exist. Its extraordinary preservation, thoughtful layout, and careful manner in which each card was mounted suggests that it was not assembled by a child or a casual collector, but rather for someone of importance, perhaps as a store display piece or salesman sample directly from Coaster Bread Company. The inclusion of all 52 known cards meticulously affixed with an album bearing the company's name helps confirm the true identity. These cards seldom surface even in small groups, making their preservation of this album in complete form nearly impossible to comprehend. The brownish olive album features 8 blank spaces to a page. The cards are arranged by team, with the Giants players appearing first, followed by members. As a result of their preservation in this original album, almost all the cards present as a level far better than normally encountered. While the album is undeniably delicate due to its age, overall handling is modest. It is a distinct honor for REA not only to offer this incredible heirloom, a museum-worthy piece. So my question here is, when it says mounted, I suppose that mounted means glued. That's what I think. And the reason that I think that is, otherwise, we know with cards, you just, if you can get them in a PSA holder and an SGC holder at a high grade, you can change the values immeasurably. Even though the preservation here is incredible and the card is incredibly sharp. And it's in it, and the way that it presents in the album is amazing. I do think that you'd still have to have this graded if you could. And I think the fact that it's not graded means it can't be. With that said, everything that they've said here is really super interesting and obviously true. The fact that the album has all of these, look at this, Pennant Winners 1921 with the name of the bakery down below, the fact that they're blank back, you can see on these images, it appears to me like these have been very nicely affixed to the page. My guess is that you're not getting these off without significant issues to the cards. And I think that REA sort of looked at this and said, hey, the best thing you can do with this is keep it all together. Now, what I want to know, though, and I have to go look this up, is I have to go to I've got to go here to PSA Pop Report, and I want to just type in 1921 coaster. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Maybe I'm not. Let's see. 1921 coaster bread, Giants, Yankees. So I want to see how many times this Ruth has been graded, and I want to see what it normally sells for. George Ruth been graded 6 times. So I got to go look at Card Ladder real quick, guys. 1921 coaster and 90 results. We're going to sort by price, where we should hopefully see a Ruth. Yes. And note, there's a couple of Ruths that are pretty high grade. Into 2023, Memory Lane sold this 6 for $87,000. And just recently, February 22nd, Heritage sold this 7.5, SGC 7.5, really sharp for $85,000. So close to 6 figures just for the Ruth. So the question that I'm asking is like an entrepreneurial type is, can I get this off and grade them all? And if I can't, but the other thing here, and you have to consider this, is, just everybody thinks like I just did. Everybody goes, oh, can I make more money on this? What's the business opportunity here? An item like this is so incredibly rare as is. And once you take them off those pages, they don't get to go back on. The way that this presents, and you can see these images here, it is really special. It is a really neat piece. And if I was a fan of baseball history, man, I don't know if I could take those cards off there. Look at that. You got Robert Roth next to George Ruth, that iconic image. Okay, I spent way too much time on that one, but guys, that was way too cool not to. And then this evidence of trimming here, holy smokes, look at this mantle. So I'm a big fan of the idea of eye appeal, but especially on altered cards where the card is altered. Like, I love this card. If you're going to buy a 52 mantle and you want one that just looks really, really nice, and you don't want to spend, PSA 7 money on it, I don't know if you're going to find one that's better than this. I just don't know if you're going to find one better than this. Like, this card is freaking fantastic. It's trimmed. SGC says it's trimmed. So it's trimmed. You can see here how it goes from narrow to the less narrow. Looks like it's probably trimmed along the top of the right edge right here. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not an expert on trimming. I could be totally wrong on that. What I do know is this card looks phenomenal. And you're going to get it at a small fraction of the price as if it had a numeric grade on it. All right, let's come back to the auction here. Let's move to page 3. Let's see what from page 3 we want to make sure we talk about. Look, guys, another Nagurski. This one's a 4. The question that I have, okay, is how's this 4 going to sell against compared to the SGC 5.5? Usually PSA 4, SGC 5.5 might be close. I don't think this one's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be close because of the centering here. And centering in recent years has become so much more important to collectors. I think the centering here is going to keep the price on this one down compared to the other one. I could be wrong. There are some people who just love PSA so much that maybe this one does better, maybe. But that other one, man, the eye appeal on that one's just fantastic. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. Coming back, SGC graded 1915. So this is our first 1915 Cracker Jack. This is the Joe Jackson in a GAI 2.5. Huge card. A mantle with a gray back, 8.5. Wow. A 1969 Topps near complete mastery set. Number 13 on the registry. Get it all at once. 32 grand. A very famous card, the Joe Jackson American Caramel. His rookie. This one's considered his rookie. It's graded a poor 1. Every time I see this, I sort of wonder, do people really know this card? Right? What if he was in the T206 set? It looks like a T206 card. Feels like a T206 card. It's not a T206 card. It's American Caramel. In fact, if we look at the back of it, that's when you're going to say, okay, that's a back I don't know from the T206, but doesn't that look so much like a T206 card? I love that a pour can be worth that. What does a 1909 Joe Jackson sell for? We're gonna ask Card Ladder real quick. 1909 Joe Jackson American. What does that get us? So 5 sold in January for almost 300 grand. This is price. Let's do days sold instead. We're gonna get some lower graded ones here. Here's a 1.5. Sold for 82 grand. Wow. $82,000. So here we are with a card that's not nearly as nice. Like there's 1s and then there's 1.5s. This was never going to be a 1.5. This one's got it everywhere. The corners, the edges, there's creasing throughout, right? Compare that to this 1.5 that sold. It is not as nice of a card. It's just not. But you know what it is? It's a real Joe Jackson 1909 American Caramel card, guys. And that's, you can't say enough about that. There's a whole bunch of fakes here. Here's a one that's just off-centered like crazy from back in August. The rest of the card's certainly nicer than the one that we're looking at, although it does have a lot of weird stuff going on here. It doesn't have the creasing throughout. It does have, obviously, a lot more significant centering issue, and it was sold in a less hot market back in August, although we were still pretty hot back in August. Do I think this, with its superior centering but more creases, can match that? What do you guys think? Can it get to that same level? Does it go higher? I don't really know. Should be fun to watch, though. All right, let's get out of the Joe Jackson. I keep clicking on the wrong button. Remind me to hold down my control button, guys. Sorry about that. Everybody knows the 1910 Honus Wagner. Very reminiscent of, wow, look, another Nagurski. 3 Nagurskis in the same auction. I love it. Okay, page 4. We go to page 4. We get, there's another one of these Wagners. A Wilton at 8. Whenever a Wilt moves in an 8, that's always a big story. An SGC 9.5 on probably the second most iconic basketball card of all time. A 1915 Ty Cobb, a Yaz in a PSA 9, and a, what is this? Ty Cobb Brunner's Bread. I don't know that set. That's what I love about the stuff from the teens, the early 1900s. You'll see stuff and you go, I don't even know that set. I'm not as much of a vintage baseball expert as I'd like to be. A lot of it comes from just watching auctions. I did work in a card shop for years where I got to know a lot of this stuff, but there's so much stuff from that era. There's so many food cards that have like a population in the double and triple digits. And that's a very cool one. Okay, a Ted Williams autographed rookie card, the 1939 play ball Ted Williams. The card is graded authentic. The autograph is graded a 10. We're going to take a real close look at this one here. So when you look at this, yeah, look at that autograph, guys. That is the story. And the way that I'm going to teach you guys how I think about this. How I think about this is, in fact, let me show you guys this. If we go 1939 play ball, whoops, sorry guys, play ball. Man, I just can't type right now. Play ball PSA. We're going to get a pop report. And when we look at that pop report, play ball number 92, Ted Williams. So when you do that, you're going to see oh, am I in the wrong? I'm on card values? How did I do that? PSA price guide. I guess I didn't type in pop report. That's on me. Can't I just click this and then see the pop report? There we go. That's weird. I don't know how I did that. Sorry, guys. If we come in here and we go Ted Williams, number 92. Guys, there are 1,300 copies of this card, 1,350 copies of this card that have been graded. It's rare, right? But there's 4 times the number of these that have been graded, 5 times the number of these that have been graded than the Nagurski that we were just looking at. That's why you've seen it so much before. But here's what's crazy. So take that and go over now to the PSA DNA side. And when you do that, you're going to move from 1,350 to a total. Oh my goodness. There's no N in Williams, Adam. To a total of 18. 1,350 to 18, meaning that there are nearly 100 copies of this card in PSA graded cases. There's nearly 100 of them for every autograph copy. Let me say that again. There are nearly 100 non-autograph copies of this card in PSA holders as there are autograph copies. And that's why this one's such a big deal. Now, the problem with the PSA pop report, and I've said this for years and everybody knows it's true, the problem is you can't look at this and see how many of those 9 that are in authentic holders, you can't see how many of them have autograph grades of a 10. So you don't know, how big of a deal that is. What you can do, and this is another way that Card Ladder is super helpful, is if you come in here and go 1939 play ball Ted Williams. Typing around my mic. Sorry, guys. PSA DNA. I need to upgrade my setup here. You can see here's a PSA DNA copy. See, this one's graded authentic. It's in that same spot on the pop. This is exactly what I'm getting at, guys. Look at this. If you go like this card right here, unbelievable autograph, graded authentic, auto of a 10. This card right here is in the same place on the pop report right here, authentic 9. Within that 9 is also this card right here. This card right here is, it's a great card, and you can see the autograph right here. The autographs, it looks like it might even be ballpoint, which to some people might be really like a very cool thing. I'm just going to tell you, I don't think this card right here, with how like light that autograph is, I personally don't think it's as like, this is really nice. You can read that. It stands out significantly. The card looks really nice too. It's like really well centered. It's one of those that you sort of look at and you go, oh, I wish that wasn't graded authentic. Just put the numeric grade on there. It's a really nice card. This card to me isn't in the same world as this other one that sold. Here's another authentic. This one's graded an 8 with an 8 on the autograph. I like this autograph a lot. It's down toward the center, toward the bottom here. Bigger, bolder writing, but the card is not, not as nice, but that's one of the 9 too. So, and here's another one. These are all graded authentic. These are all in that same spot on the pop report. You have to go back all the way to 2021 to get the last numeric grade. And this one's in big marker. Man, the one that we're looking at, Guys, the autograph on this Ted Williams right here, I mean, you guys be the judge. I think the autograph on this Ted Williams completely and totally blows away the autographs on these Ted Williams cards. Like this one right here, this one with a numeric grade. I like that it takes up so much space, but it's just not as nice an autograph. I don't know if any of these have as nice an autograph. This might be the nicest Ted Williams autograph rookie card ever to sell. Tell me I'm wrong. The blue is nice because it adds some color to a black and white card. I'll give it that. But the thinner marker here, you could convince me that a ballpoint pen would be nicer here. You could convince me of that because this isn't like as period, right? You could say, well, Adam, don't you like the ballpoint pen on... Whoop, sorry, I'm all over the place, guys. Don't you like the ballpoint pen on here? Maybe it's so light. I wish I could see it closer, but the image doesn't want to get big for me. It doesn't want to maximize. I don't know. These ones that are blue, maybe I would take those. Maybe I would take those because those are like thinner. Those are ballpoint. I like that it adds the color. None of the autographs on those, though, is as nice as this autograph here. Like, that's just so nice. I don't know. It's certainly up there. It's got the 10 autograph grade, and I don't think any of these do they? Auto 8, Auto 8, Auto 8, Auto 9, Auto 9. It's the first Auto 10 ever to sell on this card. It was awesome. Okay, I belabored that one, but I really, really like that card. Okay, we'll get out of that one. And now, let's keep going. Let's go to page 5. I'm only stopping at the stuff that really stands out to me now. You guys know, although I had somebody message me and say I needed to check out a certain card. I don't want to fly past that. I think somebody said I needed to look at a Mickey Mantle autograph. I think that was at REA. I might need to look that up at some point. Here's a Jordan 9. It's up. The number 2 PSA Registry 1958 set. That's just a beautiful set. 58 baseball reminds me of 71 basketball. It's just an iconic look with wonderful color in the background that I think everybody just genuinely likes. Superman number 1 in a 0.5 grade. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Let's look at this. You guys know I don't usually stop on comics, but 0.5 grade, I kind of have to. 0.5 cream or off-white pages. I mean, that's fantastic. Back cover is missing. The staples are missing. The front cover is trimmed. This card has everything, or this comic has everything wrong with it. 0.5, but it is Superman number 1. Probably your best chance to get a Superman number 1 comic. Like, if you were to say, like, what's the most known comic book ever? This is on the list. How many are there, period? I don't really know how to look that up real quick. What I do know is this one's a 0.5. I didn't know that they had a 0.5 grade. And then when you read the thing here, like, front is trimmed, staples are missing, back cover's missing. I mean, this comic is just, it's all over the place, but it is the iconic Superman number 1 comic. And that's very cool. If I was going to buy a comic, that might be one that I would actually have interest in because everybody knows it and it is actually sort of accessible. Another thing that I have already done a video on, you've probably already seen it, is this Wagner right here. I love this. This is a schedule card. You can look at the back. It was made 5 years, ahead of the T206. But it's not from a set that anybody knows, right? This is not a set that people know. This is not cardboard either. This is something called, what is the material here? I think they call it, celluloid. And so because it's celluloid, I think some of them end up in a little bit nicer shape, but this is one of the nicest ones in a 6. The fact that this is a Wagner with a really cool image that predates the T206, I think it makes it really cool. Now, obviously, it's not worth what a T206 Wagner is, but it is really cool. Super, super cool. All right, let's go on to the next page. We're gonna go to 10 pages, and then we're gonna go look at some specific items, guys. A Christy Mathewson 6, T206 white border, dark cap 6, Bob Gibson 8.5. And we'll go to 12 pages. Oh yeah, you got to love this Brady. So this Brady has got to be one of the cards that I've talked about the most with football collectors. And the reason why is obvious. So Tom Brady's on the back, Mark Bulger's on the front. And this card has been graded with Mark Bulger on the front. I have heard people who I think are really smart tell me this is the only right way to grade this. And then I've had people tell me the only right way to grade it is by putting Brady on the front. I don't really know. I'm not sure I have an opinion. What I do know is being numbered to 60. This is the third rarest Tom Brady autographed rookie card in existence. There are two different cards that are numbered to 50. And I can't remember. One of them is a score. I can't remember what the other one. Oh, the other one is his autographics rarest version is to 50. And then there's this. But this one is from the same brand as the best known Brady, right? This one came out in the same brand or along with the champ ticket. And where the champ ticket's to 100 and always sells for 6 or 7 figures, this one, because it's an insert, because it's Brady on the back and it's Mark Bulger on the front, this one ends up being, not obviously as beloved as, as the champ ticket, but it's still an absolutely huge, huge card. Okay, let's go back. A strip card of Babe Ruth. This is the W512 hand cut. It is from 1926. It's graded a 9. Strip card from 1926. It's a hand cut. Could have been hand cut a day before they sent it in, but it's still a 9 from 1926. The 1949 Jackie Robinson. This card is seen a rise in popularity from, at least from my vantage point, from the perspective that the other big-time Jackie Robinson that's considered a rookie has been found to also be from 1949. So the leaf is from 1949, but the slab says 1948. Historically, it's always been thought of as a 1948 card, but it's actually from 1949. And if it was called a 1949 card, then this card would also be referred to generally as a rookie. You can see that they did not include rookie here, but a lot of people do consider this as a rookie card. So that is worth considering. The mantle. Oh, this has got mantle and Griffey on it. The rare dual signature. Let's talk about this one for a second. This was one of the best known cards of the era, but I want to make sure that everybody knows the story on it. And then a Pokemon Sword and Shield box. Okay, so let's talk about this one real quick. I think I've got the numbers right in my mind on this. It's either 1,000 of each or 1,500 of each. Let's see if it says here. It does not. It does not. So I believe it's 1,000 of each. It's either 1,000 or 1,500 of each. There's 3 different variations. There's just Mantle, there's just Griffey, and then there's Mantle Griffey. And all 3 variations have the same quantity produced. So half of the Ken Griffey signatures he put on with Mantle, and half he did on his own. And half of Mickey Mantle he did with Griffey, and half he did on his own. That leaves 3 total cards. What's really interesting is that this card came out and then Mickey Mantle passed away, like right directly close to each other. Since it happened so close to the same time, what has happened is a lot of people have gone and said, okay, I found a card with Mickey Mantle's autograph with it. Let me go and have Ken Griffey Jr. sign it now. And they take a pack-pulled Mickey Mantle autograph and they get Ken Griffey to sign it. And the really interesting thing about that is that there's not really any distinguishing marks on the card to let you know whether the card was, whether it was supposed to have one or both guys. There is this hologram on the back that authenticates it. And there was a rumor for a long time that Upper Deck had saved these numbers and knew which ones were applicable to Griffey, knew which ones were applicable to Mantle, and knew which ones were applicable to both. But over time, that has sort of come out to not be true. There's no evidence that that data exists for or from Upper Deck, and so people have gotten Griffey to sign the card and attempted to pass it off as a dual signed card where both came out of the pack. Now, you might look at it and you might say, "Well, I don't really care. I don't really care whether they both came on the card. Like I just want both their autographs. What does it matter whether Griffey signed it later or not?" And to some people, it doesn't matter. But to some people, it really matters, like a lot. And that's why I would just give you a few signs. Number one, I would personally, if I was buying this card, I would only buy it graded from PSA or BGS. And if it was graded by BGS, I would look at it really, really carefully. From PSA, this one's got graded very recently. The telltale sign on this is that Griffey's autograph, for whatever reason, he signed with a pen or a marker that looks like it was generally like dying. The autograph's a little bit lighter than you would wish that it is. And so although this card comes back with an auto of an 8 and Griffey's autograph is light, that is really the signifier that this card was signed and then inserted into the packs. And to me, that's what you want. I wouldn't want a Mickey Mantle autograph that was then signed by Ken Griffey Jr. I wouldn't want that. I would want the card that was signed this way, straight out of the pack. This is the best version, and a 7 with an 8 autograph to me is just phenomenal. Again, I think there's 1,000 or 1,500 of each one. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. But from this era, the mid-90s, there's not another baseball card I'd rather have. It's rare. It's got a great story. It's from right after Mickey Mantle, right before Mickey Mantle passed away, right as Ken Griffey Jr. is headed up. I mean, 2 of the all-time greats, and really represents an era in cards that we'll never get back again when we began seeing autographs. In fact, is this the very first dual autograph? It's close. There's another one in baseball. There's a triple that's from very early on that I think was made before this, but this is one of the very first multiplayer autograph cards that was pack inserted ever. It's phenomenal. All right, so that's it for that one. I don't think there was anything else on this page that we had to hit. Let's go to page 12. Unopened box. Ooh, 1914 Ty Cobb SGC1. I'm telling you, somebody's breaking up a Cracker Jack 1914 set. Too many awesome cards in here. 1955 unopened pack. Now, does it say on this what issue it is? It does not. That's always something to look at with the baseball cards. Is there any way to tell what issue it is? Is it like, the first run, the high numbers? What is it? And definitely read down here. It says, this pack almost certainly originates from Alan Mr. Mint Rosen's legendary 1987 Paris, Tennessee unopened box find. Isn't it crazy that there was a time where like a find of unopened packs, from 40 years ago ended up being something that people thought about forever? It's just crazy. It'd be really cool today to see something like that found. All right, and our last full page that we'll go through, 1912. Oh, there we go. Got a Kobe autograph patch, a really high quality patch, 3 colors on the 2006 exquisite autograph patches. You guys know me. I am mostly a basketball guy, so I will really dive into this one here. And then let's just scroll down just a few more pages. Jordan from the same set. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about this Ruth, 1921 American Caramel. That one's going to sell for a lot more than it currently is. Jackie Robinson, 1956 in a PSA 8. A Mantle rookie in a 2. This is really an interesting Willie Mays here. It's graded a 1, but it has a 10 autograph. A Mikan in a 5. That's always going to be a big deal card. 5 is a great copy of that. And let's keep going for a sec. Page 15, Larry Doby. Let's look at the population on that. Ooh, a 7. Whew, that's a big card. That's a little bit further down the auction than I'd guess. Oh, I've got a fun story on this one. 2009 sealed unopened hobby box. I've got a fun story on that one. Okay, let's go through each of these. So, graded by BGS is a 9. Really an amazing patch on this one. I would always say whenever you see a patch that's this nice, double check the stitching and all elements of it and compare it with other similar cards or cards from the same set, just to ensure consistency. Not that they always have to be consistent, because sometimes multiple jerseys could be used, but you want it to be consistent with some of the ones that you've seen sell. And even then, I still get hesitant, but that's a really great patch, an amazing patch on this card, an amazing autograph patch. In fact, let's look at Card Ladder and see if we can discern anything on that. In the same auction here, we have the Jordan, and I would guess, given that they're from the same set and they're the 2 biggest modern basketball cards in this, I would guess these came from the same collection. So here's what you need to know about this. This is like the Reader's Digest, like cool thing to know about this set. So Exquisite starts in 2003. And then from 2003, 4, 5, there are these very similar vertical autograph patches, number to 100. And they're they're in all 3 years. And they're fairly similar. They have the same size patch, similar to this, to these ones. And they're all vertical. Then in 2006, they take the set, they turn it, they tip it on its side, and you get a full image of the player. See, the thing about the other one is you basically get, chest up or just the face. But here you get all of Jordan and you get all of Kobe. And to me, like, that's a really nice touch. Doesn't have holofoil. I'm a big holofoil guy. And so for me, from that perspective, it is missing that. But it's got really everything else going for it. Now, what I want to do with this Kobe, and I hate that we even have to think about these things, but you've got to think about these things. If we go 2006, Exquisite Kobe auto patch to 100. When we do that, here's what we get. So you start out with another really crazy patch right off the top. Yellow mesh, 3 colors, inside that. And if we put that over here by this one, let's see how that looks. Yellow mesh, really crazy patch. The mesh looks consistent. The stitching around the jersey looks consistent. This one was graded in the 1s. So it was graded pretty significantly after this one, but it looks really, to me at least, it looks really similar. The stitching on the white with the purple on the inside, I think it looks pretty consistent. So that honestly makes me feel good. This is the exact same card. It sold at Golden. So it sold at Golden. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at this wrong. This is just a blown up version of that card. Here's another card. Same sort of thing. Really crazy patch. Yellow mesh, yellow mesh, yellow mesh, yellow mesh, yellow mesh. So all of them are yellow meshes, and a lot of them are crazy. Now here's a purple mesh. Here's our first purple mesh. Really nice patch. But I would be more concerned about that one, considering how many of these are yellow. But is this patch material, or is this? I don't know what that is. It seems very plain to be a patch, but it is what it is. So just because we see all yellow meshes doesn't mean we know that they're all legit, but that does make me feel better knowing that there's other ones that are like it. This one was graded, what was it, a BGS 9? I wonder if we can see if it's been sold before. I'd be interested to see that. BGS 9. And nothing's jumping out at me. It's got that very unique patch on it. See, we get down far enough, we can't see the images anymore. So I can't see that this one's been sold before. I think the only thing that we could do to maybe find it would be if we said, what serial number is it? It's number 84. I'll put in the number 84 here, but I don't expect to see anything. Nope. So, yeah, sort of did what I could on that. From what I can tell, it looks good. It is just such an amazing patch. It's so nice. The autograph on it's phenomenal, too. It's really a wonderful card. So that will be a fun one to watch. Unbelievable patch. Great autograph. You could definitely do a lot worse. Do your research. Always do your research. At the same time, in the same auction is this. Very simple Michael Jordan. I've looked at a lot of these over the years. A lot of them look like that. Boy, the autograph's super well preserved. There just aren't enough Jordan exquisite autograph patches out there, guys. Everybody would like one. I would like one. I don't have one. Okay, so that is going to be it for that. We've now gone. Oh, that's right. We got to do these. So, all right. So this is interesting. So Babe Ruth, SGC graded authentic, minimum size not met. This is a nuance that we've seen over the course of the last 10 years in grading that I think is really interesting. It used to be that the card companies would either say, and this is specific to Beckett now, they would either say give a card a numeric grade, or they would say altered. And we see this on a lot of stuff. When they said altered, it didn't necessarily even mean that it was altered. It just meant minimum size not met. They're not saying evidence of trimming here. They're just saying minimum size not met. But guys, this is a 1921 American Caramel, Babe Ruth, that looks awesome, that has the writing on the back that says American Caramel Company. It says baseball stars of the American and National League. I mean, this is an awesome piece. It's only at $7,500. I would guess this sells for a lot more than this, won't it? 1921 Ruth American Caramel. Am I spelling caramel wrong? Probably. American. Let's just try American. A 2 sold for $31,000 just a couple months ago. A 1 sold for $17,000. Interesting. Let's sort. Let's do this. Let's just put in a minimum price here of $5,000 so that we can sort out the fakes that eBay puts up. And let's see what we can find. So there's the 1 sold for $17,000. One SGC 1 back in 2024 sold for $14,000. BVG 1, $13,000. Not seeing any minimum size not met or altereds though. Okay, here we go. So Leland's sold probably the same copy. Ends in 84 on the cert. Let's see. 79. Not the same. So that's interesting. That's interesting to me because Leland's, the one that Leland sold is a different copy, but it's also getting the minimum size not met. It's a really good looking card, but it's off-centered. Sold for $14,000 over 2 years ago. This one, similar centering, same qualifier, probably should sell for close to double of what it's at right now. That'd be my guess. Maybe more. I really like it though. The reason I really like it, well, actually, let me show you guys one more thing. This is where GemRate is our friend. If we come here and we go 1921 American Caramel Ruth. So there's series of 80. Babe Ruth is 56. Babe Ruth 27. George Ruth 7. 1 on CGC. So this doesn't combine things, and I understand why GemRate's not combining it. I think there's just too many different variations here. But we're talking about something where when you add them all up together, you might get into the 3 figures. This is not an easy Ruth to find. Compare this Ruth in its quantity to the 1933 Gaudis. I talked at the early part of the show. The Gaudis, like, everybody loves the Gaudi. It's super iconic. There's a lot of them, especially compared to this. And this card's made 12 years ahead of that. I love this card. If you wanted to get yourself into a Babe Ruth card from the 1920s, from this segment of his career, guys, like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do it better than this one right here, like at a cheaper price, because it's an iconic image, an iconic card. It's got the great back, but it does have that authentic minimum size not met. It's pretty interesting. All right, now for what you guys have been waiting for. Actually, sorry, one last thing. Mikan in a 5, just had to look at it. I love the toning on this. I love the color on the edges there. That's a great looking card. I already have a Mikan. Mine is graded authentic. Mine is missing the red ink. I can never see the red ink on this card anyways. So it doesn't make a difference to me, but that is just a great card. That is a great looking example in a 5. And then the Dobie. Yeah, we got to look at the Dobie's pop. We got to look at the 1948 Leaf pop. Oh, yeah, and then there's this box too. Okay, I got to tell you guys that story. 1948 Leaf pop report PSA. Okay, I think Dobie's really rare. So why I'm kind of surprised it's not higher than it is. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe Dobie's not as high as I think, or not as low. I mean, it's higher than I thought, but still not very high. We're talking about 165 copies. There's 165 copies, and this is a 7. Guys, there's only 6 cards graded higher than this one. This is a huge card. This is sitting very low. I would think this is very low. Let's look at card ladder here. Go back to card ladder. We go 1948 Leaf Dobie 7. So one sold. Oh, gosh, we haven't seen one sell in a year and a half. It's kind of a big deal for the world of baseball for a set as popular as this one. So we saw in 2024, we saw 3 copies sell, and it was the first time any had moved in 3 years. And they moved for $12,000. This always happens. One moves in January, then one moves 3 months later, so it sells for way less. Oh, it's the same copy from Memory Lane and then from Fanatics. Look at that, Memory Lane, Fanatics. Oh, and then it pops up again on eBay and sells for $10,750. Is this the same copy? Ending in number 763. This is not the same copy. Boy, this is an older PSA holder. It's not that old, I guess. It's not one of the original ones, but it's not. Shouldn't this? I thought maybe this was a reholder back when they were using this slab 10 years ago or whatever. But anyway, yeah, a PSA 7 with the buyer's premium. I mean, it's over $8,000. It's not, or close to $8,000, I should say, $7,800. So it's not like it's crazy low, but like if it was to end there, I would think that's really low. This is a really light card. Maybe I don't know whether people will like the toning. This one's obviously pretty dark, has some dark around toning darkness around the edges. Looks right here like almost like it's probably been in an album. See how that? Well, maybe not. Wouldn't an album go the other direction? Just the corners look a little bit darker. Anyway, yeah, Adobe 7, not a small deal to see that one at auction. And then this card, okay, I got to tell you guys the story on this box. So back in 2010, I was recently married, and I was trying to buy and sell things on eBay, and somebody sold a box of this on eBay during the time that the product was new. Okay, so this product is brand new. It's in a tin, which is different than other exquisite ears. You can see, I don't know if you can see the difference. It's like a tin. It's lighter. I don't know if tin's the right word, but it feels more like a tin than the other boxes did that were heavier and more substantive. But I really like this product because we all knew the Upper Deck was going under, or not going under, but wouldn't have their NBA license anymore. And we didn't know Steph Curry was going to be as big a deal as he became, obviously. But I wanted to buy a box, and I wanted to, flip it and make some money. And so I saw like a bunch ending on eBay, and I bought this box from this guy, and I paid him for it. And about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks went by, and I messaged him and I said, hey, just checking in to see if you sent the box. And he messaged me back and he goes, oh, I'm not going to send it to you. It sold for too cheap. And back then that didn't happen very often, but I was bummed because I really wanted it. I knew I'd gotten a really good deal on it, and I left him a negative feedback and moved on. But every time I see one of these boxes, I think about it. Upper Deck was inserting all of the stuff that they could into Exquisite and SB Game Used and those last products that they put out in 2009-10 because they knew they weren't going to be able to use the materials anymore. And so this is a super cool box because it has so many things in it. It could potentially have so many things in it. And this is interesting. And there are cards. I saw this the other day. There's a dual logoman auto that's out there. I think it was the Bird Kareem dual auto logoman that I saw months ago. I think I might be wrong here, but that card was not anywhere to be found on the Beckett checklist. So why is that important to this? Well, what it made me think is there a chance there's other great cards that Upper Deck made there at the end of their NBA license that for whatever reason they did not submit to Beckett when they submitted the outstanding checklist? Because the card is real. It's there. It is what it is. It's made by Upper Deck, but it's not on the checklist. It's not there. So could there be something else like that? And that, again, that's out of this product. So who knows what could potentially be missing? That'd be a really fun box to open. But yeah, obviously that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. All right. That is it for the first, how many pages did I do? That is it for the first 15 pages. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. This is the last thing that I want to do. If you come in here and you use these filters, you can see that there's lots of different ways to filter this thing. And what I would like to do is filter by sport. You can see here's football, here's basketball and memorabilia. If we click on basketball and memorabilia, and it's sorted currently by highest first, you can see this autograph ball from the 1972-73 Western Conference Finals Laker team. This sort of stuff is just where if you're a memorabilia guy, REA's auction can be really incredible. Like that ball's not going to get a lot of love, but that might be, as you look deeper, like that might be one of the coolest balls out there. Wilt Chamberlain's on that team. That looks like that's Wilt's autograph right there. And all the other guys placing all those autographs, so cool. The famous 1951 Burke Ross Bob Cousy. Why is it famous? Because Bob Cousy's rookie card is from 1957 Topps, which means this card predates it by 6 years. 6 years. I think he's in his Holy Cross jersey here. I think. You have to look closer. In fact, you know what? I'll look closer at it. Then we, what is this? What is this box? It says Fleer Metal. That doesn't look like Fleer Metal. Is that Fleer Metal? Oh, 99. That's sort of a weird year. That year does not have a precious metal gems. Its parallel is like a green card. Might want to look at closely at that one to see what comes in that product. I didn't even think it looked like metal, but I remember this year of metal now. It's got autographics, but what else does it have in it? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, the Elton Brand, Steve Francis rookie year. It is from an era that's beloved, and it does have, Holy Cross. That box does have autographics in it. Bunch more cool boxes. Dominion had some of the coolest cards ever, but they're really, really difficult to pull. Legacy, this is the one that had a jersey in the box. I think like there's an autographed jersey in each box. Yep, it's right there on the front. It's weird. It has like a compartment beneath the packs you have to pull out, and a jersey will come out. Now, the risk here, autograph replica jersey, there are some redemption jerseys where you open it and there's a shirt inside that is like, you can turn this in and get a jersey. And it's like, what? Are you kidding me? I just know that because I worked at a card shop when this came out, and it was rough when you're like, hey, because this was like the most expensive product Fleer had at this time. A jersey in each box. People would open it and be like, you mean to tell me I got to send this away for my Steve Francis autograph jersey? And it's like, sorry, guys. Pulling a guy like Vince Carter was tough. I bought a lot of the jerseys from this product that were on eBay a couple of years ago and was able to make a killing on them. Like I bought them at like $5 each and sold them for like $40 each, something crazy like that. That was years ago now, but who knows what they're worth now. Oh, what is this? 2020 certified basketball. Certified is always a fun product. That'd be an interesting one to look at. 1973 high grade set, a 9 on the LeBron rookie. Oh wait, it's because I was on page 15. I see. That's why it's going to the highest. Oh, this is really cool though. So I'm on page 16 right now. I meant to be on page 1. It's sort of how REA's page work or site works. I meant to be on page 1. I do want to look at this card here, this printing plate here. This is very cool. And I want to come back to page 1. How can I do that quickly? Is there an easy way to do that, guys? Let's see. I think this will work. If we come up here to the URL, see if this works. It might not. I did. Nice. I knew that there was higher dollar stuff because we'd seen them. I was sort of confused there for a second. Okay, we've gone through all those. We've gone through all these. What is this? Michael Jordan autograph, 2009 Hall of Fame MJ autograph. Let's look at that because I don't know that card very well. A Pete Maravich jersey. I will be talking about that shortly in one of my reels. These boxes, I guess I don't need to look at both of them, but these boxes are very interesting. We need to look at those for sure. One of my all-time favorite cards. Oh, this is going to go up from its $3,300. I will promise you that. The Michael Jordan Ultimate Autograph from 2006. That's a really nice card. Now we're to a lot of the really cool stuff. Okay. I've never known how to say this one. Sink Pubel. I don't know how to say it. Really cool Kobe autograph. Jordan's very first Bulls game jersey card. Non-autograph. There's not 6 versions of that like there is the autograph. There's only one version. Kevin Durant, 2007 exquisite insert rookie. It's a really cool piece. My favorite Maravich card. I have this one autographed. I love this card. And then 9, a big deal card. Ooh, an EX box. That one's cool. We'll talk about that one for a second too. And let's see. Let's look at 2 or 3 more things. Oh, hey, a 1969 Wilt. Don't see that one every day. This is the Players Association card. That wasn't even in the Beckett checklist until a couple of years ago, actually. Those are really hard to find. And what else? Let's keep going. Let's go to 10 pages and see if anything else. Oh, this Pete Maravich autograph is sweet. Let's look at that. Man, somebody's breaking up a really nice 71 set in PSA 9 grade. I think this Jerry West right here is a really cool card. Kobe in a PSA 10 is always a big deal. Ooh, an Oscar autographed rookie. Man, there's so much nice stuff up. And a lot of this stuff really sits until the last day. Oh, look at this. Okay, we're going to look at that. All right, we have like 10 cards here to look at and like 9 minutes to do it. So we'll go fast. So this Jordan autograph, I wanted to look at this one because I don't know this card. And the fact that there's a sticker on it tells me I'm probably not going to see any sort of authentication language on the back of the card. No. Instead, what we have is this. It is an Upper Deck employee card. It is with great honor and gratitude that we present you with this year's special employee card collectible. Cool. So Upper Deck gave this card out, this autographed Jordan card, and the thing that it's with. And now whoever, somewhere along the way, it was graded by PSA. That's pretty neat. Okay, so this box, let me back up. This box, 2003 Ultimate Collection, is home of possibly the best basketball card in the world. The 2003 Ultimate Logoman autograph, the parallel or the variation of the Logoman variation of the regular rookie card. And we've never seen it sell publicly. Maybe. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So about maybe a year ago or close to a year ago, I found in an old Beckett. Do I have it by me? I don't have it by me right now. I have old Beckett's in my reach, but not the one that it needs to be. In an old Beckett, there is an article. And it's not even an article. It's actually on the page. Usually they're gray pages that have the prices, but in 2003 and 2004, for a little while, they printed the pages in white. And on one of those pages, there's a graphic that shows that it shows a picture of the LeBron card, and then it shows what it sold for. And it says that it sold for like $28,000 or something. Here's the thing, though. I'm not sure, and this is going to feel like I'm reaching, but I'm just trying to be real here. So I found this article, and I put it out on my Instagram, and I said, hey, guys, look at this. This shows that this card was pulled. And the reason that that's significant is that up until that time, we didn't know that this card had ever been publicly seen. And in this Beckett, it's showing that card and it's showing the price. And so you would think, oh, it's been pulled, right? Well, the reason that I'm not exactly sure if it has been pulled, is that it's a picture of the card, the front and the back, but it looks like a highly professional picture. Back in 2003, 2004, I was very much selling stuff on eBay at this point, buying stuff on eBay at this point. And I'd scanned cards at my local card shop when I worked there, like up for a long time. You didn't usually end up with such good looking images of cards. You could, I guess, if you had a really good scanner, you might have a good looking image of the card. But the question that I had as I looked at this Beckett was, is this really the card that was sold? And I'm not sure that it was, because there is another autographed logo man of LeBron from the same product. And that card sold years ago before the boom for like a few $100,000. And today it's worth certainly in the millions of dollars. I don't know how many millions. LeBron's not as hot as he's been in the past. But even that insert, the horizontal insert card, is certainly, like, without question, is worth in the seven figures. I don't know how many, I don't know if it's a $5 million card or a $2 million card or a 10, I don't know that, but it's a big card. I have sort of wondered since seeing that article in Beckett whether Beckett had this sale reported and whether they were actually able to get the image. 2004, 2003 was just a different world online than it is today, guys. It doesn't even, if you didn't go through it, this might sound strange, but it wouldn't be shocking to me if Beckett couldn't find the image of the card, messaged Upper Deck. Upper Deck sent them the image of the card. They ran the article, and it turned out that they ran it with the wrong image, which is why when I see these types of boxes, I always just sort of go, am I sure that the LeBron Logoman autograph was pulled, the main one, the vertical one, the parallel to the base set? Because if somebody buys one of these boxes and then goes and pulls that card, it's like the biggest find in the history of the hobby. Legitimately probably an 8-figure card, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. After seeing the dual MJ Kobe sell, which is the most amazing thing, like it's the only one of those that exists. I would rather have the LeBron because of the importance of the card within that set. And some people would say you're insane. Like, you would much rather have Kobe. You love Kobe. You love Jordan. I do, and I get it, and I get why it sold for what it did. But I didn't know that it existed until fairly recently. Like that LeBron card, I've known that card existed for 20 years now. And we saw that article in Beckett, forgot about it. I never saw it. I was on my mission when it came out. And so seeing it recently and sort of bringing it to light, people were shocked. Several people messaged me like, did you know this? Or how'd you find this? Where it's like, it's just in an old magazine, but it wasn't widely known. Now it's widely known. And I wonder if it's hurt the value of these boxes. And I wonder if there's still a chance that the card could be in the box. I know I talked about that for a long time, but I think that's super interesting. Hope you do too. I love this card so much. I do notice some stuff in the background here. The pink has some stuff going on in it. This, like most cards that were graded back then, is probably not a card that would grade a 9 today, but it is a 9, and there's only, I think, 27 of this card in a 9 ever. I sold mine for like $2,700, and just have regretted it ever since. Maybe no. Maybe I bought it for that amount. I don't remember at this point. Mine was nicer than this one, though. This one, like I said, has some issues in the color, but it is one of the best Wilt Chamberlain cards ever, guys. He only has the 61 Fleer and then the tall boys ahead of this. So this is the first regulation size tops Wilt Chamberlain. I once had a PSA run of this one going where I had a 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. And the 9 was the last one that I sold. And there's one vintage Wilt Chamberlain card that I really love. It's that one. This EX box is fantastic because you have the LeBron James rookie, which actually sells really well, just the rookie in high grade. And you've got the credentials. The credentials future has been pulled. It was graded by Beckett and sold a few years ago. But then there's the other LeBron, and then there's the Jambalayas too. And the Jambalayas in here are really tough, but really cool. This Pistol Pete is just really cool. That is just really a neat piece. If you're a Maravich guy, man, you could do a lot worse than that. Beautiful autograph, great image, early in his career. So neat. And then this card, I was going to pull this up on PSA's site, and I would recommend you do this. Pull up this card on PSA's site and see if the image is any better. This will look way cooler in person, but it's hard to capture the foil. I'm going to do it real quick. Sorry, guys. PSA cert, and then we'll get out of here shortly. So I'm going to type in 786155518. It is better, guys. It's a lot better. You can see it so much better. This in person is going to be really nice. It's just, and this is like a tale as old as time. A lot of times people struggle to image this card or this type of card where it's like an autograph on a foil. It's really a neat, iconic Kobe, and it's pretty cool that it's autographed. I wonder, what's the pop on this? Pop 3, none higher. Wow. It's actually a pretty big piece. Like there's far fewer of this graded than there are PMGs from the same set. There's probably, what, 15 of these PMGs that have been graded or something? There's 3 autographs. 3. What's this being sold for? What's this at right now? $575. I will bet you that goes up. I will bet that one's not done. All right, guys. And then the final card. Now, Matrix is funny because for Matrix, they've got all of these different combinations. Like, I don't know how many different cards LeBron's on. So I don't know how many different printing plates LeBron has. Obviously, a LeBron printing plate from his rookie year is pretty cool. I like it because it's got the cool Topps logo on the back. And if you know anything about my collection, you know that my biggest purchase in the last, I don't know how long, very long time, is a printing plate. It's a Steph Curry Topps printing plate, Topps Chrome printing plate. This is not that, right? Because it is a LeBron rookie, but it's LeBron with other players. It is a LeBron 1-of-1 plate. It is. And Carmelo's on there too. And Heinrich was not a slouch. It's also interesting it's facing the right direction. Most plates are flipped the opposite direction. I don't know why that happens sometimes, but not others. Guys, this REA auction is awesome. Thank you for going with me on this hour-and-a-half journey. There's so much more to look at that I would like to do with you guys. Reminder that the auction ends Sunday. And let me know if you win anything that we talked about. I'd love a DM. Let me know if you find out if you win any of the big things. I will highlight a few of the biggest items that I love on my on the thumbnail. But really appreciate you guys and appreciate REA for sponsoring this. Enjoy the auction and happy bidding, everybody. As I always say to end every episode, happy collecting.